Not the biggest, not the fiercest either. Predators that are nearly invisible to the eye. Some are so rare that it took scientists decades just to confirm they exist. Where are you watching this video from? Drop a comment before we dive into the list. All 10 rare mountain predators, including 2 extremely elusive species. Let's start with the mountain lion, also known as the puma, cougar, catamount, and more. This animal holds the Guinness World Record for having the most names of any mammal, with over 40 different English names for mountain lion alone. This rich variety of names might be due to the fact that it's one of the few large cats with one of the widest ranges in the Western Hemisphere. The mountain lion's range stretches from the far northern provinces of Yukon, British Columbia, and Alberta in Canada, across the entire Rocky Mountains of the United States, all the way down to the Amazon rainforest and the Andes Mountains in South America, even reaching Patagonia, one of the most remote and rugged regions on Earth. Though they show up in all kinds of terrain, mountain lions have a particular fondness for areas with thick underbrush and complex rocky landscapes. Field reports have recorded them living at elevations as high as 5,800 meters, an altitude that's extremely tough for most mammals. These remote and hard-to-reach places give them an advantage for stalking and ambushing their prey. Mountain lions are most active at dawn and dusk, but their activity patterns can shift depending on how much human presence there is in the area. In central Argentina, for example, mountain lions have adjusted their behavior to avoid being out when people are around the most during the day. Their diet is incredibly diverse and depends a lot on the region they live in. In Patagonia, they often hunt guanacos, a native, wild, llama-like species. In Iguazu National Park in Argentina, their main prey is the coati, a tree-dwelling, omnivorous animal. In southwestern Alberta, Canada, they switch to hunting bighorn sheep during winter, a seasonal survival strategy that takes full advantage of what nature offers. Even though their range is vast, mountain lion populations have dropped sharply over the past century, mostly due to excessive hunting during the colonial period and ongoing human expansion into wild habitats. Estimates suggest that the number of mountain lions in the United States currently ranges from 20,000 to 40,000 individuals. One subspecies, the Florida panther, is especially concerning, with only about 100 to 300 individuals remaining in the wild. In the state of California, mountain lions are now considered critically at risk, with several isolated populations facing the real possibility of disappearing entirely if urgent conservation efforts aren't put in place. Stretching more than 4,600 kilometers along the Andes Mountains is the spectacled bear. This is the only bear species native to South America, and it's also the last surviving member of the subfamily Tremarctinae, an ancient evolutionary branch that was once widespread across both hemispheres. They are found from western Venezuela through Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, all the way down to western Bolivia and northwestern Argentina, with occasional sightings reported from eastern Panama. Despite this impressive stretch of range, the ecological width of the species is quite narrow, spanning only about 200 to 650 kilometers. The spectacled bear's ideal habitat is moist to very moist montane forests, located at elevations between 1,000 and 2,700 meters. They can also be found as low as 250 meters above sea level and are even capable of surviving in subalpine zones over 5,000 meters. The global population of spectacled bears is estimated to be under 18,000 individuals, with Colombia alone potentially hosting fewer than 8,000. While currently classified as vulnerable under the IUCN standards, the actual condition of many local populations is nearing a more critical level, especially under mounting pressure from mining activities, deforestation, and urban development. A stark example is the San Lucas region in Colombia, where gold mining permits now cover up to 21% of the spectacled bear's known range. Between 2001 and 2021 alone, this area lost more than 13% of its forest cover, a deeply concerning figure for a species so heavily reliant on forested habitats. Unlike many other bear species, even though spectacled bears are considered omnivores, the bulk of their diet consists of plant-based food like fruits, soft stems, and various native vegetation. This fiber-rich diet allows them to take full advantage of the forest's natural offerings, but also makes them particularly sensitive to changes in plant availability caused by climate change and human activities. Their hunting behavior is not active or predatory in the traditional sense, but rather opportunistic. Combined with their elusive nature and solitary lifestyle, direct observations of their hunting behavior are extremely rare. Most sightings of spectacled bears come from ecological monitoring cameras, which only adds to their reputation as a mysterious and rarely seen presence in the wild. Mountain lions and spectacled bears may be elusive, but they're still not as rare as the Andean mountain cat. This is one of the least known and most rarely encountered wildcats in the world. According to current official assessments, the estimated number of mature individuals is only around 1,378, and the population trend continues to decline. The International Union for Conservation of Nature has listed this species as endangered. Their presence is limited to high-altitude arid regions of the Andes Mountains in Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, and Peru. In addition, a small portion of the population is found in the northern part of the Patagonian steppe. The typical habitat of the Andean mountain cat includes rocky mountain areas above 3,000 meters, characterized by large boulder fields, dry soils, and scattered rock piles. These habitats are not only high in elevation, but also deeply fragmented by valleys. Their highly specialized habitat requirements make sightings in the wild extremely rare, resulting in very limited scientific data on the species. The diet of the Andean mountain cat relies heavily on vizcachas, large high-altitude rodents that live in rocky cliffs. Dietary studies show that vizcachas make up as much as 93.9% of the total biomass in their diet and account for 53% of the total prey items, indicating a very high level of dependence on this single food source. Another factor limiting the Andean mountain cat's range and survival is ecological competition with the pampas cat, which is more common and better adapted to lower altitude mountains with higher biological productivity. The overlap in habitat between these two species may lead to competition for food and space, significantly reducing the Andean mountain cat's chances of survival, especially along the edges of its range. Meanwhile, the Canada lynx, native to North America, is considered the most widespread wildcat species in Canada. Its range spans most of the boreal forests, subboreal forests, and western mountain ecosystems of Canada, extending into Alaska and nearby parts of the United States, such as the Blue Mountains, the Cascade Range in the Pacific Northwest, the northern Great Lakes region, and some areas of New England, including New Hampshire, Maine, and Vermont. In addition, a successful reintroduction program launched in 1999 helped reestablish a population in Colorado. The ideal habitat for the Canada lynx consists of forests with regenerating vegetation following logging, particularly those over 20 years old. These forests offer dense cover, plenty of hiding spots, and snow depths just right to aid in hunting. They tend to avoid open land, farmland, or heavily logged areas, as these changes break up the continuous forest cover and disrupt the ecological chains they rely on. Some individuals have even been recorded living at elevations up to 4,310 meters, demonstrating a strong adaptability to harsh mountain environments. The key ecological factor shaping the entire life cycle and hunting behavior of the Canada lynx is its close dependence on its primary prey, the snowshoe hare. This is a medium-sized herbivore known for rapid reproduction, typically living in dense northern forests that provide both food and protection from predators. Because they're not particularly fast runners, lynx must make the most of the terrain, vegetation, and nighttime lighting, when both they and their prey are most active, to increase their hunting success. This near-total reliance on the snowshoe hare has led to a unique ecological relationship. Canada lynx population sizes fluctuate dramatically in sync with the hare's population cycle. Every 8 to 11 years, Snowshoe hare numbers experience significant rises and falls, and the lynx population follows this pattern with a lag of 1 to 2 years. While Canada lynx populations in Canada and Alaska are considered stable, the situation is quite different in the contiguous 48 United States. Here, the species is listed among the most at-risk wild cats in North America, with only a few hundred individuals remaining in the wild. Even the largest remaining populations in the United States, such as those in Washington state, are now facing the threat of local extinction due to forest loss, climate change, and the disruption of their ecological link to the snowshoe hare. As one of the 5 big cats in the Panthera genus, alongside the tiger, lion, jaguar, and leopard, the snow leopard stands out as the most elusive and rarely seen. It is currently classified as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, though it was previously listed as endangered. This species is mainly found west of Lake Baikal and southern Siberia, along mountain ranges like the Altai, Sayan, Tanuola, and Tian Shan. Its range continues through Central Asia across the Pamir, Hindu Kush, Karakoram, and Himalayan ranges. The snow leopard's habitat also extends into Mongolia, including mountain ranges like the Altai, Gobi Altai, and Khangai, as well as highland regions across Tibet, such as the Altin Tog in the north. Although it spans a wide area, suitable habitat for snow leopards is actually limited to high mountain zones between 3,000 and 4,500 meters, places where temperatures remain low year-round and oxygen is scarce. The 2 key factors determining snow leopard presence in these regions are a high density of hoofed prey animals and moderate to low levels of human interference. In many areas, their main food sources include the Siberian ibex and the bharal, medium to large-sized mountain ungulates that live on steep and rugged slopes. Depending on the region, these primary prey animals can make up anywhere from 50 to 90% of the snow leopard's diet. Their remote habitat and elusive behavior make snow leopards especially difficult to study. Observations from automated field cameras and indirect research show that they tend to hunt with great care, using the rocky mountain terrain to silently approach their prey from close range. Current estimates suggest that fewer than 10,000 mature snow leopards remain in the wild, and projections indicate their population may decline by another 10% by the year 2040 if threats are not effectively managed. Moving to the Ethiopian highlands, the Ethiopian wolf is one of the rarest wild canids on the planet. It is currently considered the most threatened carnivore species in all of Africa. The most recent survey data from 2011 estimated that the number of mature Ethiopian wolves ranges from just 360 to 440 individuals, a critically low figure for a top predator. The Ethiopian wolf's signature habitat includes Afro-alpine grasslands and shrublands within the high-altitude ecosystems of Africa. Its ideal living range is between 3,200 and 4,500 meters, above the natural tree line. However, increasing pressure from subsistence farming, now reaching elevations up to 3,700 meters, is steadily shrinking the wolf's viable habitat. As a result, these animals are becoming more and more isolated on the highest mountain peaks, where biological resources are scarce and more vulnerable. Today, the distribution of the Ethiopian wolf is limited to just 7 isolated mountain ranges, all situated between 3,000 and 4,500 meters above sea level. Among these, the largest remaining population, estimated at 120 to 160 individuals, is found in the Bale Mountains of southern Ethiopia. The Ethiopian wolf has evolved to become a highly specialized predator. Its diet is centered on high-altitude rodents, such as the African big-headed mole rat, voles, black-clawed brush-furred rats, highland hares, and the Abyssinian grass rat found in the Simian region. This species' rarity is driven not only by its limited geographic range, but also by its low reproductive rate. Only about 60% of dominant females successfully reproduce each year. The pack's social structure is led by dominant individuals, and typically only one female per group gets to breed. This imbalance in reproductive roles, combined with environmental stress, results in a naturally slow population growth rate, especially as their habitat continues to shrink at an alarming pace. The wolverine is one of the smallest but most powerful carnivores in the Mustelidae family. They are mainly found in remote, rugged areas across the boreal forests, subarctic tundra, and high mountain regions. In North America, they are widely present in northern Canada and the state of Alaska in the United States. Across Eurasia, wolverines are recorded in Nordic countries such as Norway, Sweden, and Finland, extending through the Baltic nations and western Russia, all the way into Siberia. Historically, their range stretched into northeastern Poland and across the European part of Russia. But today, they are primarily found in areas north of 60 degrees latitude. This species is highly adaptable to various types of habitat, including taiga, tundra, mixed forests, coniferous woodlands, wetlands, and deciduous forests. In alpine areas and open landscapes, especially where snow persists year-round, wolverines display unique ecological behaviors. One of their most important biological traits is the need for large territories to support their hunting and breeding needs. With a solitary nature and home ranges that can cover hundreds of square kilometers per individual, wolverine population densities remain very low, even in optimal habitats. Wolverines mostly feed on carrion, including the remains of large animals like reindeer, moose, or bighorn sheep, but they also actively hunt smaller prey such as hares, ground squirrels, and birds. In harsh environments, their wide feet and sharp claws give them a strong advantage for traveling across snow, allowing them to hunt effectively. During the breeding season, they typically dig dens into deep snow layers to protect their young from predators and severe weather. Their reliance on snow for successful reproduction makes them especially sensitive to climate change, a growing factor that is pushing their distribution further northward. The rarity of the wolverine comes from several overlapping factors: low population numbers, large habitat requirements, geographic isolation, and a highly secretive lifestyle in some of the most inaccessible wild places. In Europe, the estimated number of wolverines within the European Union is only about 900 to 1,200 individuals, of which 500 to 800 are mature adults. In Scandinavia, their numbers are estimated to range from 800 to 1,200, not including young. Specifically, in the Karelian region of Finland, about 390 to 410 individuals of all ages are recorded, while in the European part of Russia, estimates range from 1,400 to 2,000 individuals. The culpeo, scientific name Lycalopex culpeus, is one of the native carnivores of the Andes and highland regions of South America. Although often referred to as the Andean fox or culpeo fox, the culpeo is not a true fox. Instead, it belongs to the Lycalopex genus and is more closely related to jackals and wolves. Its fox-like appearance is the result of convergent evolution, a common phenomenon in evolutionary biology, where unrelated species develop similar traits to adapt to similar environmental conditions. The culpeo has a wide distribution, ranging from southern Patagonia and Tierra del Fuego at the southern tip of South America, up through the Andes as far north as Ecuador and Peru, with smaller recorded populations in southern Colombia. It has also been found in the Sierras Grandes mountain range in Córdoba province, Argentina. Despite this broad distribution, the presence of culpeos is fragmented due to fluctuations in habitat and changes in the landscape brought about by human activities. Culpeos inhabit a variety of environments across western South America, including nothofagus deciduous forest, littoral shrublands, chaparral, arid deserts, and high-altitude plateaus like the Altiplano. They are capable of living at elevations up to 4,800 meters, nearly at the upper limit for woody plant growth. On the western slopes of the Andes, culpeos are most common in open terrain and semi-arid forests, where a mix of low vegetation and open grassland provides favorable conditions for hunting. Culpeos are opportunistic carnivores, and their diet mainly consists of rodents, rabbits, birds, lizards, and occasionally plant material and carrion. They can also take down larger prey such as Andean flamingos and young vicuñas when the opportunity arises. In some regions, colpios have been reported preying on sheep, which has led to conflict with humans, particularly in traditional grazing areas in Patagonia and other open grassland zones. One especially notable factor is the relationship between colpios and introduced European rabbits and hares in South America. These rapidly reproducing species have expanded their range and created a plentiful food source, helping to fuel the growth and geographic spread of colpios from the foothills of the Andes out into the Patagonian plains, an area where their population density was previously much lower. In contrast, although the red fox is the most widely distributed small carnivore species in the world, the Cascade red fox subspecies is currently ranked as critically imperiled by NatureServe. It was also officially listed as an endangered species in the state of Washington by the Department of Fish and Wildlife in September 2022. Historically, the Cascade red fox ranged across subalpine meadows, parklands, high mountain forests, and summit-adjacent habitats of the Cascade Range, including parts of southern British Columbia, Canada. Today, however, its range has been severely reduced and is now limited to just one area, the South Cascades in Washington state, located south of the Interstate 90 corridor. This current range covers less than 50% of its historically recorded range within the state. The population is now highly isolated in harsh, high-altitude environments. The Cascade red fox is uniquely adapted to year-round cold and high elevations, often appearing in subalpine meadows and open summit forests. It avoids the dense forests along the western slopes of the Cascades, areas that are ecologically unsuitable for the fox's hunting and breeding behaviors. The most recent estimates suggest the wild population may number as few as 50 individuals. Among these, the effective population size is estimated at just 16, with a 95% confidence interval ranging from 13.3 to 19.4. This dramatic range contraction almost certainly correlates with a severe drop in population size, and it significantly increases the risk of local extinction in the near future, unless urgent conservation measures are taken. Finally, we come to a bird of prey found only in the Philippine archipelago, the Philippine eagle. It is one of the largest, rarest, and most critically threatened birds of prey in the world. This eagle is not only the national symbol of the Philippines, but also serves as a vital biological indicator of the health of the region's remaining old-growth tropical rainforests in Southeast Asia. The Philippine eagle's natural range is currently recorded on 4 major islands of the Philippines: Luzon, Samar, Leyte, and Mindanao, with the largest population concentrated on Mindanao. This island hosts the country's most extensive remaining patches of primary tropical forest and is the center of ongoing research and conservation efforts. Most existing populations have become extremely isolated, increasing the risk of extinction due to small population effects. The Philippine eagle is the apex predator of the tropical rainforest ecosystem in the Philippines. Its diet is highly varied and adapts to the local prey availability on each island. On Mindanao, the Philippine colugo is the primary prey, accounting for up to 90% of the eagle's diet in some regions. On Luzon, the eagle's diet focuses on primates such as macaques, large reptiles, giant cloud rats, as well as civets, tree squirrels, fruit bats, and occasionally even chevrotains. Each breeding pair of Philippine eagles requires a very large territory, ranging from about 4,000 to 11,000 hectares of forest, depending on prey density. Because of this need for wide, continuous habitats, deforestation, particularly due to illegal logging and agricultural expansion, has become the greatest threat to the species' survival. If we were to choose a single symbol of vitality in the wild mountain landscapes, which species among these 10 would stand out as the leading candidate? Each of them embodies resilience and mystery, yet their shrinking ranges reflect just how fragile closed mountain ecosystems truly are. As the boundary between wilderness and humanity continues to narrow, their increasing rarity is more than a scientific challenge. It's a powerful reminder of the role humans play in protecting the natural world. But is this the whole story? In remote mountain ranges that remain largely unexplored, it's still possible that predators unknown to science are silently roaming, waiting to be discovered.